Hello out there to everyone in the verse. Gabby here with my weekly show where I do my best to offer up advice and solutions to the many interpersonal problems that any one of us might face, whether that be tackling relationship difficulties or just being an ear for someone in need. Tonight we have a couple of interesting stories I want to share, and of course a Dear Gabby update as well. Remember that if you have your own difficulty you would like to share, please mail in your concern or you can post it in the comments below and I will give my very best advice to you if chosen. So be sure to let me know your troubles for your own chance at a problem-solving take from the galactically known Gabby. Luminalia is rolling on, Trumbull, and we're about to have a week off. What will you be doing with your free week?
I will be taking a shuttle to see my family and enjoying some peace and quiet, or at least as much peace and quiet as I can get with a family of 25.
Did you say 25, Trumbull? That's a lot of family members. I cannot imagine having to cook for such a large family.
Yeah, my mom and aunts all get started cooking a good 3 days before everyone gets together, and the house will be smelling really good, and I can hardly wait for the food coma I know I will be getting.
I am glad you will get to get home and spend it with your family. I know the last few months you have put in a lot of time for the show, and you have elevated it to the next level. Speaking of next level, it's time for today's sponsor, so Trumbull, roll the theme. Before I dive into this week's topics, I first wanted to thank my longtime sponsor, Torpedo Burrito. When Gabby has had a rough day and wants to unwind, I stop by my local Torpedo Burrito and grab the vegan wrap, which has been an almost weekly favorite of mine for many years and has helped me through some truly turbulent times. Not everyone can agree on the nutritional value of one of these hand-wrapped burritos from the gods, but it doesn't stop how good having one can make you feel, and that's what's important. Torpedo burritos are pretty much everywhere, and you can also order one directly using your MobiGlass and have one of the many great delivery service members in the verse bring them right to your door. It doesn't get any easier than that. Now, on to the show. Our first letter has a question to ask that many have already asked, and I guess it's as good a time as any to answer it, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space. What happened to your Dear Gabby in Starfield segments? I really enjoyed getting to know a whole new universe, but those shows just dropped off the radar without so much as an explanation, and I was just wondering why, as they were all really good. Signed, Starfield Curious. Dear Starfield Curious, thanks for asking about the Starfield episodes, and the answer is mostly about logistics, which is not a sensational or hyped response. We had many letters speculating on all sorts of crazy rumors, but the good, honest-to-goodness reality of it is just that Trumbull and I did not have the time to put into a new show from another galaxy. Trumbull was already stretched thin as it was, and trying to cover and get footage for a second show became too much. We enjoyed the few episodes we did, and who knows what the future might bring. But ultimately, our home is here in the Star Citizen universe, and so we would rather do one show great than two shows just okay. Thanks for asking, and have a happy Luminalia. Our second writer is debating something many grown-up children around the verse debate at some point in our lives, and so let's get to their letter, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space, I am writing with a question today that I have been grappling with for a few weeks now. You see, my father is getting older now, and the decision has been put to me to either put him in an elderly home or to take him on myself at my house. You see, my father was a high-ranking member of the UEE, and I am not exactly pro-military, but I have always respected our soldiers. I just believe we should explore more diplomatic options and learn more about enemies to try and find more alternative ways to approach them. Well, you can imagine that my father and I do not get along, but I wish we did, and so this could be an opportunity for the stern military commander and I to try and get along while there's still time to try. With his retirement fast approaching, I wanted to really consider this before approaching him with it, but I wanted a second opinion. Thanks for listening. Love the show. Signed, Diplomatic Son. Dear Diplomatic Son, your idea is a very commendable notion, and I would love to recommend you to at least bring it up, but I would also caution you to be realistic in your expectations. Could your father already have plans on where he will be staying? Has your relationship anything other than contention to build upon? I know your heart seems like it is in the right place, but how is the history there between you two? These are all things that you need to think about before just assuming that your father will be open to the idea, and also if it's even plausible for the two of you to get along well enough to both enjoy yourselves and not drive the other into depression. What might be good for your own mental happiness might not be good for his, or vice versa. I would love nothing more than the two of you to get along and rebuild that relationship, but maybe living together is a bit too much a place to start at, and perhaps maybe moving him close to you so there can be less distance and more chances to build up your relationship is a better way to begin. You can always go up from there. Thank you for writing in, and let us know what happens and if you need any further advice. It is now time for our Dear Gabby update, and this week's update comes to us from Burning Nightmares, who was having trouble sleeping after a fiery accident, and so let's see how they are doing, and they write, Dear Gabby in Space, I took your advice and began working out before bed and also started reading some fantasy novels about wizards and dragons. Of course, this might not have been the best thing to read since the dragons do attack villages with fire, but ultimately I have not been having the fiery nightmares anymore, and you were right. Occupying my mind has led me to get better sleep, and now I wake up and have been ready to take on the challenges of work and just going about my day doing what I need to do. I am now addicted to these fantasy stories, and so I have been going through this long series of books, and I dread the day it ends. But I am already researching what series to jump into next, so a whole new problem here. Anyway, thanks for the advice and for helping me get out of that zombie state I was in. Signed, Burning Nightmares. Well, I am so glad you have stopped having the nightmares, even though you went all in on a new fiery villain in your story. I kind of meant to suggest to you that you might want to check out the stories you decide to read beforehand to avoid anything with flames, but I'm glad it worked out anyway. Thank you for keeping us updated, and take care. That is all for this week's show. Tune in next week, and until then, I hope you all stay safe out there in the verse. Me and Trumbull wish you all well. Thank you for watching. Say goodnight, Trumbull.
Good night, Trumbull.